we are, boils and ghouls, at this fantastic little patio here with a fantastic group of individuals. I'm going to pass the microphone off and let them introduce their horrid selves for your edification.
I'm Jay Francis. I'm the violinist of Unextraordinary Gentlemen.
I am Malcolm Shriek. I am the vocalist and fall-about guy.
I am Professor R. Mangrove, bass playing and programming.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us here on our wonderful program. Yes, indeed. Now, you just played an amazing show. Your sound is really out of this world, very phantasmagorical, and something that's very close to my black heart. So I'm just dying to know, how did this thing begin? How did it start?
Well, I met Eric at a karaoke club, and I was itching to do a band of my own after playing with bands for so long. And he was a really kick-ass vocalist, and I wanted to work with him. So we were kind of putting our heads together what kind of band we wanted to do, and we wanted to do something that was like late 70s, early 80s, post-punk, synth pop kind of stuff. A little bit of goth, a little bit of dirge stuff like Tom Waits, Nick Cave, and to see what we kind of came up with. So we kind of just woodshedded for like a year. We got the idea eventually to use the Victorian stuff because of Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because we thought it'd be really cool atmosphere at the band, because we didn't really know what to sing about, because we wanted to be kind of like semi-silly, semi-serious, so we thought it'd be a good idea, and then costumes and all that. So, and then when we got to a certain point, we invited Jennifer to the band to play violin, because we didn't want too many things coming out of the laptop. So, although that sounds cool too, but we wanted a little bit more humanity to it. So,
Understand.
So,
She's our human.
yeah,
I am the human.
So you are the human. How is it being a resident human?
It is awesome. I really enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun playing with them, and being the human.
So now, vocally, you do have a very outstanding voice, and it's very tried and true, that early 90s, 80s goth sound, which as I said, I loathe to pieces. What are some of your inspirations vocally?
Well, for this band, it's actually mostly female artists, believe it or not. Annie Lennox from early Eurythmics, Alison Boyer from Yaz. And then as we started doing more the Western folk stuff, I started throwing in the Nick Caves and the Tom Waits and playing with the different voices. But for the most part, it's been more of the synth-tastic stuff. A lot of the early, just what he said, a lot of the late 70s, early 80s synth punk and synth pop stuff.
You were playing violin, which is awesome, and it really fills out the sound very nicely, I think. What are some of the challenges playing in a band like this?
There's nothing really. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's just fun fitting in little parts. Sometimes he'll have something already kind of written on a keyboard part, and we'll be like, well, let's just do that on violin instead. Or he'll play us, a new song, and I'll just come up with something on my violin for it. So, but I mean, it's just, there's nothing like hard and horrible about it. It's pretty exciting.
Ride all of the rides that he can. That's the only trouble.
Yes, I'm a midget. Really, he's only he's like 5'5", and we are midgets.
seriously.
It's amazing the way the camera can add height to people.
And the hat too. So.
Yes.
So now the writing process, is it your pretty much brainchild as far as the songwriting goes, or is it a collaborative effort?
Well, Eric writes a lot of lyrics in his notebook, and then I write a lot of musical pieces together. And so we have these two little, idea bags that we put together. Some songs start with my side, some songs start with his side, some songs start with Jennifer tuning her violin in practice, and then it becomes a song.
Yes.
I pretty much write the bulk of the song, but then Eric adds his lyrics, and then we finesse it all together. So it is a team effort, but I usually get the ball rolling. So put it that way.
Now, even though, as you will see in just a little bit, Boils and Ghouls, you did a fantastic performance, but it was a small venue, of course. In the perfect world, dream world, as big as your imaginations can go, would your show be incredibly theatrical? Is that the ultimate goal?
Well, when we are in bigger spaces than this, I mean, this was a store and it's very tiny, we usually have our Victorian dancing girls on either side, and they add a lot to like acting out the songs and being beautiful and gorgeous, and so, I mean, for right now, that's part of what we do usually.
Nice.
I think we're really adaptable. So it's like if we're playing a smaller venue, we'll play a more visceral performance, you know, and if we suddenly got, you know, a rich uncle giving us millions of dollars, we could have like all of the separate instruments being played by real people, except the drum machine. We'd still keep that, and you know, we'd have guest people coming on singing some of the songs, and you know, everything it'd be a big show, but it's not necessary. Right. It's cool. It would be cool to do that, but it'd also be a giant headache. So
that it would.
It might be best that we stay underground.
Yeah, I mean, if we had the touring budget for it, we would have a more elaborate stage show, probably props and backgrounds and cellists or something. But we kind of like the way it is now because it's very compact and moving. Since we don't have a drummer, it's easier for us to get around, you know, because it's 3 people with minimal equipment, so it's just easier to set up and go.
We're also within our own little universe, we're kind of perfectionist as far as what we want our visual thing to be, which is a big part of what we do. And so I forgot my point was. Oh yeah, one of the things that people have been begging us to do for a while is to do like a music video, and it's like, but we want to do that. We have lots of ideas, him and I especially, like for visuals, put it together, but we haven't figured out how we can do it with the budget we have the way that we want it, because we wouldn't want it to be any less than exactly what our vision is, damn it. So
of course got to stay true to that, got to stay true. Now, of course, with the whole Victorian aesthetic, how does steampunk affect you, and what does steampunk mean to each of you?
It's been very good to us.
Yeah.
I think steampunk bands traditionally, if it can be called traditionally yet, do songs that are kind of, you know, it's the past that never was, and it's taking like stuff from the Victorian era and beyond now, and kind of spinning it into like kind of a utopia. Like, what if it was still going on and everything's cool, we're using steam, look how much better this is, and that's cool. But I think that what we do is slightly different than that in that we tend to sing about, tongue-in-cheek, but we tend to sing about things like cholera in one of our songs, Lemon Lime Girls, and we, you know, talk about, you know, the normal tropes, like we do have an airship pirate, and we do have people stalking in shadows, but we also want to kind of pretend like we came from there and are telling people that, no, it's actually really cool now. You really wouldn't want to have lived in Victorian times. It really, really sucked. There was no antibiotics. Disease was rampant. You lived till you're about 35 if you were lucky, you know. All of the great wars hadn't happened yet. Civil War might have. So it's like, you know, we're trying to remind people. That's why we throw in the synth elements as well. Even though the 1980s had a lot of problems too, but it held the promise of that shining future because it sucked so much. In some ways, it was like the people that could were like saying, "Hey, wait a minute, let's think positive, and like, what if the future were shiny and everybody, you know, wore shoulder pads and you know." So it's like we try to do that where we're more like about, I guess, putting the positive end on that, like the vision of like the 1980s, and throwing a little bit of dystopia from the Victorian times. So we kind of mix it up a little bit. That being said, we're happy to accept those that consider us a steampunk band, because the conventions are awesome. Thank you for inviting us to all the conventions, because they are very, very cool.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, the 1800s, which I loathe, and I was there for all that, so I know what you're telling me is true. It was a very difficult time. Trust me. Where can the ghouls at home find all the gory details out about you? Where you're going to be playing, get some albums? Where can they find you on that internet thing?
Well, it's
the steam-powered internet.
It's basically unextraordinarygentlemen.com, and don't ask me to spell it.
It's all one
it's
word.
Long, yeah, all one word, yeah. So.
Unextraordinarygentlemen.com.
I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it.
We'll put it right down here somewhere so people can see it. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. I'm very, very excited about the project. This is the first time I've seen you guys undead, and I'm a fan. You've got a fan for life now, or unlife, as it is. Do you have any final words for the creeps at home?
Stay on extraordinary.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thank you for your support. It's been great, and it helps us pay the bills.
Yes. And it keeps us recording.
Yeah, it keeps us alive.
So if there's any rich uncles out there, you can donate money to unextraordinarygentlemen.com. And
It doesn't have to be one of our uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody's uncle.